Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Ferrari recently went live with their configurator for their most upcoming model, and that is the SF90. So in this video we'll go through some of the colors and the trims, some of the options available, because I like doing this type of thing, and secondly I like dreaming big. It helps keep me motivated, and for anybody out there who aspires to own one of these types of cars like the McLaren P1 and the LaFerrari and the 918 Porsche Spider, don't let anybody discourage you from dreaming big, because that's really the only way you're going to be able to get to this type of echelon of car. So that's my motivational speech to start off this video. Let's jump right into it. I'm already here on the Ferrari website, and to be frank, I hadn't been on the Ferrari site in a while, and I was pleasantly surprised on how good it is. It seems pretty clear and easy to navigate, and most of the things that you're looking for are pretty easily found. And so here we are on the specific SF90 page. Now I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the SF90. I have a video dedicated to that. I will link that in the upper right hand corner of this video for you to check out if you're interested. But just to skim over it really quickly, this is Ferrari's latest and greatest supercar. It's going to have 986 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It is a plug-in hybrid, and in addition to that, it's a four-wheel drive car. And in the video that I linked, you'll find out that this is actually a plug-in car. It can operate in fully electric mode up to, I believe, 16 miles, and it operates the front wheel. So there's a lot of firsts in this car, and one thing that a lot of people might not have mentioned is that when operating in all-electric mode, the front wheels are basically driving the car, and this becomes essentially the first front-wheel drive Ferrari as well. I guess pseudo you can call it. It's still four-wheel drive. But nonetheless, that's enough information. You can check out my video and online if you want the heavy details about this car or the technical details. But we're here to configure one, so that's what we're going to do. Now, I must say this is a beautiful car. I know this car, when it came out in the May time frame, everybody was bashing it that it's not nice and it doesn't look great. Yes, it's not the best looking. It kind of looks like a mutant of a 488 and a LaFerrari, but I think Ferrari took a function over form design here with this car. And just to be clear, this car is not a replacement for the LaFerrari. That's going to come later. The SF90 is going to sit in between the 488 and that new hypercar that will come out in the upcoming years. Alright, so the SF90 Stradale, here we go. The initial step, they give you two options. So you can configure your own, which is what we're going to do. And then they've also got this separate package, the Fiorano package. And this obviously, from what it looks like, it gives you special shock absorbers derived from GT race cars, additional weight saving measures, high downforce rear spoiler, carbon fiber, special tires, blah blah blah. It's basically a track package car. Me personally, I would prefer to just build my own, so that's what we're gonna do, and that's what this video is about. So let's go through it. First thing they like for you to do is pick your color, and I love it when manufacturers do that. Sometimes they make you pick options before colors, and it's silly, but nonetheless. Of course, the first color option that comes up is the traditional Ferrari Rosso Corsa. Yes, this is a very nice color, and it's pretty common for Ferraris, but I'm going to go through some of these other colors here that I found to be very interesting. The first one here is this Grigio alloy, and the reason why I like this a lot is I feel like there's like 3 or 4 colors depending on the light you're probably looking at it in and the perspective. Like in some areas it looks silver, in some areas it looks very light blue, and in different areas it looks somewhat light green, and it just provides a very unique color for this combination. And I'm a type of person that if I buy a sports car, I'd like to buy it in a unique, probably a better word to describe it is an interesting color. I like interesting colors on my exterior. The next one here is this Grigio Silverstone, which is more of a traditional gunmetal. However, it does have a lot of depth. It's somewhat flat, but not, at least here in the photos. And this looks like a very interesting gray color to me. And next is this blue Abu Dhabi color I really like. I'm not a blue color fan, but this is a nice color as well as far as blues go. Next, I see this happening a lot in that a lot of manufacturers are including orange now. This is called Rosso Dino. And I'm not a fan of this color at all on this SF90. So, I mean, that's just my opinion. I know a lot of people like orange and it's kind of a fad color at this point. However, the color I'm going to pick here is the Verde British. And this thing looks unbelievable in my opinion in this green color. Now personally, I adore green color cars. It's one of my favorite things. It's one of the things I aspire to own, is a green color car. Something along the lines of maybe a McLaren, not a McLaren, but an Aston Martin in that light green that they have, or a Porsche GT3 Touring, or a GT3 in the oak green metallic is also another one of my favorites. But this Verde British green looks beautiful. I've also seen other Ferraris, namely a 488 Pista. Here's a picture of it, and some other Ferraris. I think Ferraris are very underestimated with this green color. I think they look fantastic, and I'm surprised why a lot of other people don't. But maybe it's, you know, red is a traditional color, and that's why sometimes green might get overlooked. But green is the color for me for this SF90. What I'll do is do a quick spin around here. Man, let's look at this. Look at this thing, man. This looks unbelievable, especially when the light hits it here. Beautiful color. I like this a lot. Okay, next we've got the roof and the engine bay, and you basically got one option here for the roof color, and it's painted black. I personally don't like the black painted roof. I like the green color so much. I want as much green paint on this car as possible, so I'm not going to pick the black roof. And the carbon engine bay, I don't know if you'll notice here, it puts carbon fiber on your intake manifold here, and obviously you've got your valve covers down here. However, for me, I'm not going to pick it because I like the red intake manifolds or covers for the intake manifold to go along with my red valve covers. So that's where we are for the engine and roof. The next piece are the wheels and the calipers. Now this is where I was going back and forth. I typically like a nice silver plain wheel, especially with a outgoing color like this green. However, I was going back and forth between the matte Grigio wheel and the carbon fiber wheel. And eventually I just decided to go with the plain and simple gray color wheel because I think it's going to contrast very nicely with the rest of my car. Now additionally, you've got the brake colors here, the brake caliper colors. You've got like this aluminum color here, and you've got the black color as well. You've got the blue brake caliper, come on, the red one, and lastly is the yellow brake caliper, which is the one I'm going to go with. Now the reason why I like the yellow one is because I think green and yellow contrast each other very well. And in addition to that, I've also got this Ferrari badge here, or crest, along the side, and I think along with the center wheel caps here, this with a brake caliper and the yellow here contrast very strongly together along with the green color paint. So I'm staying with the yellow brake calipers as well. And the next item are the bodywork elements. Here are the elements, I guess, or the body panels that are going to be in carbon fiber, this option here. I'm going to pick this one because, again, I believe it contrasts well. It makes the car look more expensive. In addition to that, the green, yellow, gray carbon fiber here seems like a very nice trio of colors in my opinion, and I think along with that, the gray color suits very nicely with the Grigio wheels. So you've got like this 3 color combination for this car. I believe it looks very nice. Next, you've got the exhaust pipes. And for the exhaust pipes, you've got 3 options. The standard looks like the silver nickel painted exhaust tips. Then you've got the titanium, which look like so, and the black ceramic. Now, in my opinion, for the rest of this car, specifically to match the exhaust, I like the titanium. I think this looks almost identical to these Grigio colored wheels, and I think that looks very sharp and matches obviously this color, the green carbon fiber and grayish and yellow type of theme that this car is going to have. Next, we move into the interior, and this is an interesting part that I found to be kind of weird. And let me explain. So you've got a couple seat options here. You've got the standard seat, which looks like so, and then the seats, what are these? The style seats, which kind of give you a different pattern of stitching and cushioning. And then you've got the traditional Daytona seats, which maintain the same structure as the standard seat. However, you've got the traditional Daytona stitching and cushioning layout. And then this is the interesting part. You come to these carbon fiber seats. Now, I must say these seats are probably the weirdest, coolest seats I've seen ever in a car. I don't know if that really makes any sense, but the reason why I think they're cool is because just look at them, look how cool they look. And separately, the reason why I think they're weird is because of the shape. They look, I don't know, they just don't look right to me. And for that reason, I'm just not going, for two reasons, I'm not going to pick it. Because of the way it looks, I just feel like it looks weird. And secondly, because of my green exterior, I'm going to go with a lighter color interior. And let me explain to you why, the second reason why I'm not going with these seats. Look at the charcoal seat, for example. No, not this one. Look at the, which one's a better one? The Terra Busciata. Look at the way the leather and the carbon fiber contrast. I'm not feeling it. It looks so weird, especially in this area. I wish if this whole thing was one piece of leather, this piece was filled with leather. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but it just looks weird to me with this lighter color leather. Maybe in the black it looks okay, but it's just not for me. The one other piece before I go back and pick the seat that I like, I wanted to point out this part about the seat. Let me switch to the interior, which I think looks very cool, this part of the seat. And it's the lower part here where your legs sit, and this indented area here I think looks really unique, and I'd never seen this type of design before on any car. Of course you would see it in a Ferrari, but yeah, it just stood out to me. It was very distinctive design. But I'm going with the Daytona seat. Because I think, look at that, when you switch between the colors, when you switch between the seats, look at how much better it looks with the Daytona seat if you've got a lighter color picked. At least that's my opinion. The one piece I wish the Daytona seat had is that middle section, like the racing seat had. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Daytona seat, whether it's got that middle section or not. And for my interior, I like how Ferrari has a wide selection, a wide spectrum of colors, lighter colors, darker colors, reds, multiple shades of red. Now, a couple things I was going back and forth with. This Tortora is the one I really like. It contrasts very nicely with my exterior green paint, and it's a little different. Typically, what I see is this cinnamon color, and I hope I pronounced this correctly. It's Cuao. I'm not sure if that's the correct Italian pronunciation of that leather color name. But typically you see this cinnamon color along with the green colors. I was having a difficult time switching between this one, the Terra Bruciata, this one here, and also the Tortora. So I could make up my mind. So for this build, I'm going with the Terra Bruciata because I feel like it's a contrast or a middle ground between the typical cinnamon color here and the lighter Tortora up here. However, one thing I wanted to point out is the typical, not the typical, but the common Rosso Ferrari red interior looks very nice. And in addition to that, the Bordeaux is one of my favorites as well because it's kind of like this blood red and it resembles very closely to the one that Porsche uses. I believe Porsche even calls it Bordeaux as well, but this is a very sharp looking color. If I was picking a darker color like a black or a grayish tint of color, I would definitely go with either one of these reds. But for me, it's the Terra, and I think that looks really sharp with my green exterior paint color. Now moving to the interior details, you've obviously got a carbon fiber upgrade, which will give you carbon fiber in your instrument panel here and along the sides here and along the dash panel. So let me enable this. This is something I would definitely get. And in addition to that, before I show you the interior of the where the carbon fiber differences are, you've got the digital rear view mirror, and I'm not sure exactly what this is adding. However, I feel like it's basically a rear view camera that shows up in your rear view mirror. All right, so let's look at this interior a little bit and a couple things that I noticed while going through this configurator. The first thing, you see this screen here? It's all screen and it's 16 inches. I believe this is the biggest screen I've ever seen in a car as far as your gauge cluster goes. Typically, like Mercedes, they have two 12-inch screens, but this one is 16 inches right in front of you. This must be a massive screen. And secondly, is the minimalistic interior for the Ferraris. There isn't any fluff. Your climate controls are all seems like they're all controlled from this little area here, and the carbon fiber that's added is on your steering wheel, along your door panels, and in your centers area here when your transmission is controlled, and along your dash as well. But one of the pieces that I was kind of disappointed about, I wish there was a little bit more of that interior color on the steering wheel. It just seems like they could have blended it in a little bit more just to give it a little bit more excitement. But it's not to say that this looks bad, it's just something that would have been nice, is probably a good way to describe it. Next are the carpets, and I really like Ferrari for doing this. They give you multiple options. They obviously give you the black, the blue. You can have it colored basically the way you like. And these are the solid colors. It gives you the entire bottom portion of the car in that solid color. But the one I really like are the tone-on-tone Alcantara inserts. I think this looks very sharp, and it gives you a happy medium in between a all black interior, which looks like so and looks kind of boring, and the entire carpeting being one color, which I think is a little bit too much. So like I said, this gives you a happy medium to where this area here is in the same interior color as your seats, and it seems like down here is a little bit darker area. And I think this is very clever in design, because typically, where do your feet go? In this area. What area is typically the dirtiest? Where your feet go. So you probably want a darker color here, and in this area your feet or dirt doesn't really get trapped here. So I think this is a very clever design, and this is the carpeting that I would go with. And it looks like that's the end of it. This is going to be our build. So let's give a quick walk around 360 view. So we went with the Verde British green and the gray Grigio wheels, the yellow brake calipers. We have a solid painted green color, no black roof, no other deviation other than this beautiful, stunning Verde green paint. The more of this paint there is on this car, the better it's going to look. For the exhaust pipes, we have the titanium finish to match with our wheels, and we've got the carbon fiber pieces here in the diffuser, and also some trimming on the side as well, the side rockers, and of course in the front splitter area here. And on the interior, I forgot what this color was called. I believe it was the Tortara. However, we have the two-tone seats, and I think this gives you a better view of it. You can see this color, this area here matches your seat, and the areas where your feet will be, which will most likely be the high wear areas, are a darker color. So that's the interior leather color, and then we've got the carbon fiber trimming as well, and up here you've got a rear view camera mirror. And here's just a quick view around. We did not pick the sport seats. We went with the traditional standard seat with the Daytona stitching or Daytona cushioning pattern. which looks really cool and provides a little bit of that Ferrari heritage that I like to see in all Ferraris. So this is our build. I'd like to know what color you're picking for a SF90, and in addition, how it compares to some of the cars out now, like the Huracan Evo possibly, or the Performante, and maybe even the 488 Pista, even though this is going to be priced a little bit higher and offer a lot more performance. So yeah, let me know in the comments, and thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, drive steady.